It was OSU got out-coached, outplayed.
Lucas Raymond is also from Sweden, so he's an 8-time goal scorer for one of those 2 games they have in Sweden. So I don't know which one it is, but it's going to be one of the 2, so lock that in.
This doesn't make any sense. I was pissed. Fumble recovery happened. I'm going to be honest, I turned off the game. I checked back in. That was a fine.
Get back here, baby. Come on.
They're walking up to the table blind. I'm betting fucking blind.
Welcome back to another episode of Sharps Sports Network. The boys are back on another Wednesday evening to give you the NFL Draft Preview Spectacular Extravaganza. And also, we got NBA playoffs. And also, we got NHL playoffs. And also, we got some MLB with McDilly. And that's pretty much all that you have on the spectrum. There's also a little bit of NFL that will be dabbled in because things are happening in the world of the NFL as well. But as of right now, I know that we only have 2 members out of the 4, and that is the brothers. And that would be Tycho and McDilly. Right. Now, Snoop Luke will probably be joining us at some point. Yes! And then there is the famous man who just appears right when the podcast needs to start because his intuition goes, it's podcast time, and then he comes in right when it starts. Just because I was telling Tyler, I was like, the text messages are coming in green, so I don't know if I can get a hold of him. So we're just going to have to rely strictly on Jesse's memory to remember that it's a podcast day.
But it is the day before the draft. It is draft eve here in Detroit. It's time to go, man. I know there's a lot of people that are going down tomorrow for Thursday, but all the hotels are booked. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy down there tomorrow. I know we're trying to go Friday or Saturday. Weather's not going to be great, but weather should be good for Thursday. But Friday, Saturday is a little iffy.
I know what you're trying to say. It's Thursday, weather's shitty, but then Friday it's going to be 64 and sunny. So if you want to go based on weather, Friday is your best day to go, and then Saturday is going to be in between. It's going to be 40s, 60s, 50s.
Also, maybe Michigan will bless us. It literally could change tomorrow. It's weird out here, but
don't be one of those fools that think you can appear at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and peacefully get what you want done.
Correct.
Don't be one of those people. You're gonna be hating yourself.
Yeah, if you want to just go down for the experience and you don't want to deal with a lot of people, go day 3. Go day 3 when people are clearing out and you can go and do everything there.
I was gonna clean the shoes.
So that would be my suggestion. We'll be down there Friday. I know that. I'm so excited. Should be electric.
Should definitely be electric. All right, so on today's agenda for the podcast, here's what we got up today. We have some NFL draft, we have some NBA playoffs, some NHL playoffs, some MLB, and we have some
You should have showed that when I was saying the things in the beginning.
Yeah, but now I gotta bring everything back because we got a little off track because we're talking about draft because everyone's excited. However, could possibly be 2 top 5 picks on my screen right now. Just saying. Sure. Caleb Williams and JJ, if they take him at 5. I'm just saying, it could happen. We're going to start off today's podcast, though, with some MLB. So, Dylan.
Right. All right. Let's. Well, I love that. That was amazing. I wasn't ready for any of that. Fuck yeah. All right. Let's start it off with Johnny Cueto, Tyler's, how would I put this? Only a few bright spots in the Miami organization right now. Has been traded away.
Baby.
Start you up there. Has been traded away to the Texas Rangers, the defending World Series champions. Sign a former World Series champion in Johnny Cueto. Sorry, Ty.
I can't have any.
They don't want to see you have anything.
I don't want to go this whole baseball season leaving my Marlins jersey in the closet, but right now that's what it looks like it's going to be, is the whole season where the Marlins jersey just stays in the closet and doesn't come out.
You're going to get a dusty Marlins jersey. Oh, no.
Hey, you know what?
Well, Miami had, it's not all their fault.
Yeah, their other two
Oh, you're gonna put some of the
their
blame on
other
me?
2-star pitchers are just hurt for the year.
Yeah, it's not. You got to get in that bad.
Yuri Perez and Alcantara, they're on the IR. And they'll be there for 4 more months.
What? I didn't know their injuries were that bad.
I'm in pain. Look, I'm in pain. All right.
It's a
I
problem
said
right now
at
in
the
Miami.
beginning of the season, I said, chalk it up. We'll be back next year.
And that's where we're looking. Speaking on the other side of the spectrum, we officially have a new team that is in first place for the first time this year, and they are me and Jesse's World Series champion pick, and that is the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles are officially in first place for the first time this year. They have been playing electric baseball all year, but the problem is when you have the teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees who have been absolutely shredding, it's hard to get a first place spot. But Baltimore has now claimed that spot. And on top of that, they have the second best rotation and the 6th best hitting lineup in the league. So, Jesse, your fucking O's are rolling.
And you want to know why we're rolling? Because that batting line has been so swell. Cedric Mullins has been he hasn't been hitting the greatest, but his plays in center field are unmatched. He has been playing phenomenal defense and has saved about, I think, 4 runs on his own, two-run homers, or he's been robbing home runs. And I love to see that.
Yep.
Especially in the close games they've been having.
And then you got all the rookies that are coming up, especially with Jackson Holliday, and they just called up Heston Kjerstad yesterday. They just called up Heston, and Heston hit, for those of you who are unfamiliar with his game, he hit better than Jackson Holliday has been hitting in AAA. In his 21 AAA games this year, he has 10 home runs, 30 RBIs, batting .349 with a .431 OPS and a 1.175 OPS. He actually has double the numbers when it comes to OBP and RBIs that Jackson Holliday did. So, Baltimore, staying on top, has all these young guys. Like, I would compare them to Oklahoma City, honestly, where they're at the top right now, and they just have loaded young guys that they're ready to bring up. Or we're in OKC, they're ready to draft. So, Baltimore's in a really good position. Next thing that we have is, this is just a quickly for me because he's my favorite broadcaster in the game right next to the White Sox announcer. Shout out to John Sterling, 42 years of broadcasting for the New York Yankees. He was my favorite current announcer for the past, since, like I said, the White Sox guy has retired, because every single guy who hits a home run, he has a nickname for. He has some of the greatest calls in Yankee history just because of his nickname calls. He's also iconic for 2 home runs that Stanton hit last year that weren't home runs, that he called home runs. And he's hilarious. He's electric. Everybody loves him. And he's been doing it for 40 plus years. So I wanted to give John his props.
You,
right.
sir, dominated the podium for longer than I've been able to see you, longer than I've been able to know you, longer than I've been able to hear you. So, bravo.
Damn right. Absolute legend. Shout out to that man, 100%. And the last thing that we have to – well, actually, we have 2 more things. This one's just a funny stat. The White Sox are now 3-19, and they have a minus 71 run differential, and it's the worst in the MLB, and it's the 3rd worst in MLB history. I saw a tweet the other day that said the White Sox are making the A's rethink their real problems. And I agree. The White Sox are making the A's look like, we got an attendance issue, but there's not really a big problem here, is there? We can win games. So
I like that tweet, but
yeah, but here's the problem. In Chicago, there's another team you can go watch that's actually
on the north side.
They have another team they can go root for. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. There's other teams you can root for in California, like the Dodgers or the Angels, but, California is a lot bigger. So, Chicago, there's one side of town and the other side of town. They can just go to the other side.
If you're on the south side, you're in a shitty position. That is what we can see. It's very clear.
Let us know, Southside people.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not fun.
Yeah, what's going on? Are you guys just going up to the north side for games, or like
I
not
would.
going to games? Or...
If you like good baseball, you know. Last thing that
we want to know.
Last thing that we have for the MLB and the world of MLB is just more glorifying Shohei Ohtani. But, you know, he did another thing. He broke another record, did another thing, you know. He is
Glorify
now
my Dodgers.
Has 176 home runs, and that is officially the most career home runs by a Japanese-born player. Hideki with 175 home runs, and obviously Ichiro's in third. So shout out to Shohei Ohtani, most home runs by a Japanese-born player. And before you give him his props, just in case you're wondering, where does Shohei rank right now? He's currently first in the MLB for batting average. He's first in the MLB for hits. He's first in the MLB for doubles. He's first in the MLB for OPS. And he's first in the MLB for slugging.
It's because he's not pitching.
That's my dog.
Exactly. He's focused all on hitting, so he's just putting up insane hitting numbers.
He's like, I mean, I can't move my arm that certain way because, you know, that's for the pitching. So I'm just smacking these. I'm literally a DH. I can chill all the time for the most part.
This is kind of what I think most people expected when you have a man who is an elite player on both sides of his position that now has to focus all of his energy onto one. Numbers are going to get better.
What's crazy is this number is never going to be broken by any other Japanese player when it's all said and done. Well, whatever it is, it's going to stand. It's going to stand for, well, maybe it will be one day, but like it's going to stand for like 50 plus years. I feel like this is going to be an astronomical number for Japanese-born players to try to surpass Shohei Ohtani when it's all said and done.
I'm checking how long the other guy played in the MLB. 7 years. So Shohei did what he did in 7 years in 3 years or 4 years? 3 years? Yeah. 2020. Yeah. So 4 years. This is his entering fourth season.
Okay. All right. Fourth year.
So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I agree. When it's all said and done. So when he finishes, you know, staying healthy and all, the 7 years that he finishes, he will probably be double that number or around there. I'd agree. And that is what we have for the world of MLB. Trying to keep it short and sweet today.
All right, ladies and gents, you absolute fucking beauties. Here we go into Nerfy update. Nerfy Nation picks. 40-20 this year. After last night, we went 1-1. Today, so far, we are already 1-0. If you already caught this on the Sharps app, props to you. If you didn't, well, why don't
be better?
Why aren't you following me? And why aren't you riding Nerfy Nation? For 40-20, do you want to be up or do you want to be down? New York Mets and San Francisco Giants already smacked today. We got Boston and Cleveland playing later today, and San Diego at Colorado to cap the night off on the West Coast. So if you're riding Nerfy Nation, those are the picks for today. If not, I don't understand why.
Yeah. If we're rolling into the draft next, can I do something in football? Like a couple things to talk about in football real quick?
Yeah, 100%.
All right, perfect. I got just two things for two different teams, and they're both in the world of money and signings and contracts. So starting off with two contracts that were both announced today, both by our Detroit Lions. Firstly, we have offensive tackle Penei Sewell agreeing to a 4-year, $112 million deal, which makes him the now highest paid offensive lineman in the league. And also, on top of that, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown signing another record-breaking $4 million deal to become the highest paid wide receiver in the league. Both made in less than an hour? They were like back to back.
They were right back to back. Like I was at work, so I hop in the car. They're like, "Oh, Amon-Ra, I got a deal." I'm like, "Oh, no way, bet." And then I go into the store, write my order for beer, whatever, blah blah. I get back in the car like an hour later. Boom, another deal. I'm like, I got a Jared Goff deal by the end of the day. Like, is that where we're going? Like, right before the draft, Brad Holmes just gonna steal all the headlines like that? Like, okay, Brad. I like it.
Yeah.
But Amon-Ra with $77 million guaranteed in this $120 million extension, does make him the highest paid player in guaranteed money. And look, all I know is that Brad Holmes is taking his fucking laser cooking eyes and cooking the Minnesota Vikings right now, because now you either got to pay Justin Jefferson 34, probably $35-ish million per season to keep him, or you got to get rid of Justin Jefferson. So pressure's on Minnesota, and probably Brandon Ayuk. I think he said something on his Instagram. He wants money now because St. Brown got so much money. So wide receiver market just went up. Like we all know, the salary cap goes up every year, so it's not that crazy.
As soon as we saw Devontae Smith get his bag, I told my boss came to me and he was like, "You see how much Devontae Smith got paid?" I'm like, "Nah." Tells me the price tag. I'm like, "Oh, well, shit." He's like, "How much you think Amon-Ra's getting paid?" I'm like, "You gotta give him like 30." And the fact we gave him 30, I'm geeked because he is a top 5 receiver. You could argue with your mom. I don't care. He's top 5. Even though he performs a lot out the slot,
easily.
We still give Cooper Kupp his.
He's just a dog. Just work all the time. All work all the time.
The footwork, the routes, they're great. Panay,
you could say the same thing about Panay Sewell. So, like,
I think both contracts
got a bunch of money today. These are the two guys that I would give a bunch of money today.
I actually think Panay's more earned. I think that it isn't as talked about as much just because Amon-Ra, obviously, you can see what he does more, obviously. But I think Panay's is 100%, if you had to compare the two, more deserved, just because that man is the best offensive tackle in the league, and there's a little drop-off there. Like, he is number one.
And then there's
you know what I mean?
Then there's like two. Then there's like 2A, 2B, 2C.
Yes, 100%. So I think that Panay's, as much as it's not getting talked about as much because the Amon-Ra deal happened right afterwards, Panay's should be talked about because completely deserved.
Panay got his money after.
But another thing that happened back-to-back in the world of football, we're going to go over to Jesse's Bengals because at 5:30 and 5:40, there was 2 different tweets that were sent out. First tweet, Bengals 3-time Pro Bowler defensive end Trey Hendrickson has requested to be traded from Cincinnati per league sources. 10 minutes later, Bengals franchise wide receiver T. Higgins has also requested to be traded and has no longer discussed franchise or contract talks with the organization. So, 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers want to be traded, or 2 Pro Bowl players want to be traded from Cincinnati. Jesse?
All right, Bengals. This is where we cook. We send Hendrickson out of here. Adios. We'll get somebody in the draft. Higgins, we send you out of here. Get you out of here. We love you. You're a dog. If you can be a wide receiver 1 somewhere else. Plus, we got a little group we got to reunite and go out and get Justin Jefferson when we get all of that money back in from getting rid of you. So, I'm not mad, I'm just waiting for it to happen, and I can say I was right.
Thank God you guys franchise tagged Jamar Chase. Thank God.
Thank God he accepted it.
Because you know what he would have done? He would have looked, he would have went, well, Chase leaving. Well, T's leaving. Unless I'm going to become the new highest paid fucking wide receiver in the league, I'm gone. So they franchise tagged him. They made the smart play, and they did all that before any of this came out.
My phone's been dead, so I didn't get any of this information. But Trey Hendrickson, you have made a lot of great plays.
I will say, if you check ESPN, they will probably hit you with it right away because I got it at 5:49. So you'll probably get smacked with an ESPN noti when you get your phone on. But yeah, that was all that I. Oh, and I guess the Bears are revealing a new stadium, but I guess we're not really going to talk about it because we don't know if it's official yet. Because Arizona had plans for a new stadium, now they're going to Utah, so fuck that. But we can talk about this, Tyler.
This is definitely
he finally got his Heisman.
Reggie is finally getting his 2005 Heisman back. It was announced earlier today. Just months ago, we had the Johnny Manziel tweet that said, "I will not be going to any of these Heisman ceremonies until Reggie gets his Heisman because Reggie is the Heisman Trophy." And not more than 3 months later, Reggie gets his Heisman back. And I just think I thought it needed to be talked about because people have been waiting so long for this. Jesse, how do you feel?
I love it because he's had one of the best seasons a Heisman has had. Reggie in college was just a dog. And to take it away, how they took it away, and where the game has came today, there's no reason. There's no reason.
I think
I was worried that they were going to wait till after he passed and then do it like now that he's dead, we're going to give it to the family type thing. And I'm just happy they didn't do that. He's alive. Give him his flowers while he's here because he fucking deserves them. So I'm happy about that.
And yes, I was 5, but I know highlights and I can look things up.
Yeah, just because I'm 19 years old doesn't mean if you say, hey, do you know what Tavon Austin highlights are? You fucking kidding me? I can sit here and tell you exactly what they are, and I can tell you exactly what he does. But that is the news. Let's get into the draft. So, Tyler, do you want to take the reins like you did last year, or how do you want to do this? You are muted. He was muted through all of that. We didn't hear what you said. Gotcha. All right, sounds good. So, kicking it off, we have the NFL draft, obviously, in Detroit. The stage has been made. The stars that are going to be there have been announced. Dylan spent the last fucking 72 hours of his life doing draft research. So, we're in full swing of things, baby, and we're ready to go. So we're going to do it similar to last year where we're not going to do a full mock draft. We're just going to go through probably the biggest picks or talked about things of round 1, where you think they're going to go with those moves. And then what did you think we were going to do?
No, I just said because I fixed my shit.
Oh, okay, bet. All right. So the very first pick in the draft, Tyler has already talked about it a couple times on this podcast. Chicago Bears. Justin Fields, being now a Pittsburgh Steeler, pretty much confirms Caleb Williams is a lock. So I'm not even going to ask about Caleb Williams because I'm pretty sure we all
not worth talking about.
We're all on agreement on that, correct?
100%. 100%.
Okay, so let's kick it off with Washington. So Washington is the first team here that could do the predictable choice, but then, could fuck around and make a Washington decision. So where do you guys think Washington's going to go? Obviously, the most two talked about people are Drake May, Jaden Daniels.
All right. I know it's not a fun thing to do, but I'm going with one of the top 2 people mentioned, and that's Jaden Daniels. I think that Washington hasn't had any fun or any real success since RG3, and Jaden Daniels could be the next RG3, and I think that that's where they're going to go with this.
Jesse?
I think they'll take Jaden Daniels, but they're going to take Jaden Daniels in the first round. I want all offensive linemen the next 4 picks they have. Because just because you get a new quarterback does not fix your quarterback being sacked the most in the league by like 15 sacks. It's not going to change anything because he can move.
Yeah.
Per hour faster.
Yeah, I wish I had a different opinion here, but I agree. I think they're going to take Jaden Daniels because then I think at number 3, that sets up New England to take the quarterback that we all know they want to take, and that is Drake May. That is the system quarterback. That is the Mac Jones, but the mobile Mac Jones. And what I mean by that is if you watch him at Carolina, he had 9 rushing touchdowns, and not just because they were QB sneaks. It was because when he doesn't have anybody open in the pocket, primarily not his senior year when he got these top receivers, but in his sophomore year and his junior year, he was a lot more mobile with his feet when he didn't have wide receivers open, and no one really talks about that with Drake May. They kind of just immediately put him in like the Mac Jones system, Jimmy G quarterback, but he is more mobile than a lot of people would give him credit for.
Bro, hear me out. This man, Drake May, if he gets drafted to the New England Patriots, is quite literally, I think, going to have a Matthew Stafford career. I think he's going to spend a long time in New England. I don't think they're going to have the success that they want to have, and I think that he'll end up going somewhere else to eventually have success. But I think that the Drake May is definitely the play for New England, but I think that's exactly how his career goes.
Jesse, do you disagree?
No, because Drake, man, I mean, he's got the talent, but the Patriots really don't have that much. So like, it's tough when you have a quarterback and no other rest of a team for real. Like,
I know it's
barely-
pre-draft, but what was their over/under for games won next year? Was it 4.5?
something like that. It wasn't 6. I know that.
They have nothing to work with.
So it's just gonna be tough no matter who you put there. But
I agree. You're not going to be in a good spot. Yeah, you're not at all going to be in a good spot right away. I'll tell you that. Next up, we have. I really could see Arizona fucking this up, but there's no way they do. So you take the 3 quarterbacks off the board, and then you look through the blinders and you go, okay, Marvin Harrison, you're still right there. I'm Arizona. I take Marvin Harrison. That's what I do. Do you agree or do you disagree?
Bro, I can't tell you what they're going to do because I'm not a mind reader and I don't want to play that game. But
What would you do?
I don't think that Arizona's going to make this pick. I think Arizona's going to trade the pick.
And who do you see being a team that that could potentially trade up?
I mean, I don't know. If they want to secure their quarterback, maybe the Raiders.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe the Vikings.
I was gonna say somebody.
Viking. I could also see the Vikings moving up to get a quarterback, but
What about somebody
at some
like
point.
what about somebody like Denver?
What's Denver picking?
Denver's not till
First round.
jeez.
I think they're not till like 14,
Yeah,
16, something like that.
Patriots are 11.
Denver could
12,
definitely
12.
move up,
They're
but
number 12.
See, like,
So yeah,
I don't want to
I
play
could
that
see
game
Denver.
of guessing who, but because I don't know the ins and outs of what conversation is going to be had before the draft. It could happen minutes before, but I don't think Arizona makes the pick.
Okay, Jesse.
Thanks always up takes quarterback.
Marvin Harrison is like phenomenal wide receiver, but do they even have a tackle? Am I crazy?
They're not going to go the tackle route because they have 2 offensive tackles that were injured all of last year that are in the veteran, will be fine type of status. One of them is Ojulari, and there's another one I can't remember.
Yeah, go the wide receiver route.
That's why I think they're going to stay away the offensive tackle route because I did think about that too, but I could see them trading rather than take the offensive tackle. If they don't trade the pick and take a tackle and don't take Marvin, then they're going to get bullied. Next is the Chargers, and I think that Jim Harbaugh is a sucker for his Michigan boys, and he's going to take J.J. McCarthy. Sorry. I think he's taking J.J. I think a lot of people are going to be mad at it, but that's what's going to make J.J. a top 5
Bro,
pick.
did you guys hear about Herbert? Rumor has it that Herbert had like some physical issues in the Chargers organization.
Yep.
And that he might be like looking at getting traded, but I just don't see it happening. That'd be crazy to trade somebody.
If they're smart, they'll take Joe Alt, but they won't.
Yeah.
I'd even take a wide receiver. I'd even take someone like Malik, but I don't think they will. I really think they're going to take JJ.
They need to take Neighbors. If I'm being honest, they lost.
Yes, they do. They don't have a wide receiver.
They lost their weapons.
Yeah, losing both their wide receivers, I would definitely lean Neighbors. But, I mean, the Chargers are so unpredictable.
So
Especially when
you have new
head coach, and you know he has influence. So, like, I have no idea. But if I'm the Chargers, I'm taking a wide receiver. If Marvin Harrison Jr. is still on board, that's who I'm taking.
Yeah. Giants are next, and I think we see them taking a wide receiver as well. Because then they'll take the offensive tackle later in the draft. And then
for no good reason, I want the Giants to take a quarterback. So bad. I want to take JJ McCarthy. So bad.
Just because.
So bad. Oh yeah, because I think JJ would get absolutely destroyed if he had to play for the Giants, and like, I don't know. It just brings me a little bit of joy.
Would it bring you a little bit of joy?
Well, yeah, he's not a Lion, so, you know. I don't need to watch him succeed.
With the 29th pick, the Lions select JJ McCarthy.
No!
this one.
You know how mad he'd be. All right. So next we have the Tennessee Titans who sit at number 7. And I think that Tennessee needs to be smart. And if Joe Alt's on the board, you take Joe Alt, offensive tackle. If, let's say, Joe Alt isn't on the board for some fucking reason, because one of the teams we talked about
because
before,
LA makes the right decision.
right. Then I think
which won't happen. So
then I think you're probably going to lean towards Dallas Turner, star edge out of Alabama.
okay, I feel like Tennessee could use anyone on the line on offense or defense. Just pick a side. I think either one you'd be fine.
Yeah.
You just spent
Tennessee's almost in like a best player available position, pretty much.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, low key. They are. I think all they have is a guard and a tackle.
No,
No, you guys don't have a tackle.
we have a guard.
Yeah.
We have Ben.
Yeah, you guys can just pick whoever.
They have like 1/10 of an NFL line.
We have a guard. Then you have Chicago back on the clock, and I do want to talk about this because if Chicago takes Caleb Williams, then they're going to be sitting up with, in my opinion, the spot where they can still take a wide receiver because of how fucking deep this class is, and I think they'll take Rome Odunze from Washington.
See, that's what scares me. I don't want him to be a Bear, and I don't want him to be a rookie on Bears. By the way, if that does happen, Mr. St. Brown, Equanimeous, you're gone.
Fuck yeah.
You're getting cut. But I don't want that to happen because I don't want him to be in the division. However, I think it would be a smart pick by the Bears. I can't say it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I'm doing it now.
All right.
The Bears should go wide receiver, but something tells me they don't.
What, they go edge? I think if they don't go wide receiver, they'll go defensive line. They'll get someone on the edge maybe. But
Yeah, because they've been buffing the defense, so I just feel like
they do something wild.
they might want that strong suit.
They said, "Oh, Lions got number 1 offense, huh? All right, we got to get the number 1 defense."
That's how they feel. All right, now we're just going to roll through the remaining teams in the first round that, people are talking about or what they're going to do, I guess. So we're going to kick it moving down to number 13 with the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the Raiders are in a situation where they can go cornerback heavy or they can go quarterback. So I'm going to start with Jesse just because I know out of all of us, he is the one that cares more. So, Jesse, do you leave corner or do you lean quarter?
I feel like I made it very clear when we chose to sign Jimmy G that I would never look at the Raiders the same again. But that's a side note. I think they need to get a quarterback. Their defense is never going to be good again, ever. They just don't draft. They don't pick right. They do nothing for their defense. It stays poor. Max Crosby is the only guy on there doing anything. So you'd think they draft defense, or they should. But they also have nobody to run the offense.
Look, right about here is where the Arizona Cardinals are going to be picking because the Raiders are already going to have their quarterback. And I think the Cardinals in this spot are going to be picking a wide receiver.
Okay. I think if the Raiders have this pick, they're going to either take Quinion Mitchell or they're going to take Michael Penix, depending on which route they go. Next team that I want to talk about is yes, I do want to talk about them. Let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals at number 18, just because of everything that Jesse said. Jesse said it's no worry because we're going to go into the draft and we're going to draft. So with number 18, what do you draft?
Edge rusher.
I agree. You go defensive line. 100%.
We trade Trey Henderson.
Yeah, I would take either Byron Murphy, Johnny Newton, somewhere in that defensive edge, defensive line territory. 100%. I'm glad.
At least they gave you the benefit of the doubt of telling the team they wanted to be traded before the draft, so they could be traded for draft picks.
Yeah, if Jared Versay is on the board, you take him. That would be a pull out of FSU, and I think he'll still be there. So I agree. I think that's exactly where you go. Tyler, do you agree?
100%.
All right. Next team is you know what, Luke, you're not here, so we don't have to talk about your fucking Dolphins at 21. That's great. Fuck Dallas, fuck Green Bay, fuck Chicago. Number 29, the Detroit Lions. So, the hometown draft team officially on the clock. I'm sure the place will go bananas. But who do we draft? Who do we take? Tyler, I'll start it with you.
Look, if I had to make the pick at 29, McKinstry.
What?
I'm shoring up that secondary. I'm taking Kool-Aid.
Oh.
Shoring up that secondary. I'm taking Kool-Aid.
Over Cooper DeJean and Nate Wiggins?
Or I'm going Cooper DeJean.
Okay. That's
one of those two.
Yeah.
I think you can get the edge rusher in the second round. So I'm going secondary, but I wouldn't be mad if we went offensive tackle either. So Penei Sewell will be taking Taylor Decker's job. And Taylor Decker is probably his last year, if not
you
one
think they're
more
gonna
year
go
after
round
that,
one, though?
he's going to be gone. Maybe not, because we might not make the pick. But if I had to make the pick at 29, I'm taking one of those two. But I don't think we might not even make this pick. So
I think we're gonna make this pick. I'm confident in us making this pick.
We might move up.
I don't
know.
I don't think they're gonna fuck us over and say, hey, I know it's 38 degrees and you motherfuckers
Got
are
pick.
here to watch your Lions draft, but we're gonna make you wait till 29 and then trade it away. I don't think Brad's gonna do that to the people. He's mad at the people and he won't do it like that.
Brad already made it very clear he is very ready to apologize if they don't pick at 29.
He said that at the press conference either today or yesterday.
He better pick. And Nate Wiggins or Cooper DeJean is going to be on that board, and you need to take one of those two. I agree. If Quinyon's still on the board, you take Quinyon. But there's no fucking way.
Somewhere in that range that we didn't talk about of like 13 to 29, the Lions are going to move up. I don't know where. But
the thing is the problem is there's only one player we'll move up for. There's literally, if the Lions move up, we're taking Quinyon Mitchell. Because Quinyon Mitchell is the only player that we would need to move up for because we know there's no chance in hell he's going to be on the board at 29. That's just what it tells me.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Me too. I agree.
But if we don't, then I think we trade out of the first round and end up with earlier picks in the second and like 3 picks in the second, I'm going to be honest.
Okay. And then the final team that I want to talk about, because they are the only team that doesn't have a pick the entire first round of the draft. They're in the worst spot of any team in the NFL. Round 2, pick 33. First pick of day 2. Carolina Panthers. If you're in a ground zero situation.
Literally best player available, it doesn't matter.
If you're in a ground zero situation, okay, you have one guy in Bryce Young that you feel okay with. Not confident, okay with on offense. Where do you go? Do you go tackle? Do you go wide receiver? I get Tyler said best player available. I get that. I'm just saying, from a building standpoint, where do you start?
Pick 1. Best tackle available on the left side. Pick 2. Best tackle available on the right side. Center, guard. Those are my 5 first picks if I'm the Panthers.
I don't think the Panthers even have 5 picks.
Neither do I. But they better figure something out because each one of those guys needs to be replaced. Each one of them. None of them protected your quarterback last year, and that was very clear.
4.
Look for the shortest, stockiest lineman you
have. 4. Only 4 picks.
They have 4 picks.
Oh no. Tackle, guard. You're just gonna have to.
Hey, maybe they'll be able to trade. Oh wait, what do they have to trade?
Nothing. It's tough.
And that is the NFL 2024 draft preview.
You have Brian Burns, and you have nothing to show for it.
Now you have 0. So
Yeah, Chris.
Sports bettors, you need to download Sharps, the better social network. With Sharps mobile app, you can tailor your friends' bets with one click. See a bet you like? Just click the whale tail icon and boom, it will open in your corresponding sportsbook. Sharps securely connects to major sportsbooks like FanDuel, MGM, Caesars, and more, so you can not only track your bets, but share your bets in creative ways. So gather the degens, download Sharps for free, and join our fast-growing sports betting community.
sorry, I thought I was gonna get hit with a video, but we're just rolling right into the playoffs. All right, so NBA playoffs 2024.
The thing is, everybody made their bets, so like the bets have been
There's no
made.
pick,
So now it's
intro.
just
Yeah,
you got to talk about it.
I get it. There's no point.
Hold on. Let me start.
What?
Let me start this off real quick.
Okay.
I know why you not here. You was afraid of talking about that down 0-2. You was afraid.
That was the first series I had to talk about too.
For this 0-2 L you got right now. Timberwolves is sweeping that ass. And the 76ers might get that ass swept too, because Knicks showing up. Yeah, it's at home. But man, they played some good ball.
Yeah.
I will say some real shaky stuff going down.
What do you mean?
Philly. End of the game. No foul on Maxey on that inbound.
Yeah, yeah, but
Out by the head coach, and he's clearly calling a timeout. I don't know, man. Some fishy
we'll
stuff.
talk about that. We'll get to that, Tyler. But we got to deal with one issue before we deal with the next. And the main issue right now is that I don't care what anyone says. I've watched fucking all the playoffs. Anthony Edwards is the best player in the league right now. In the league right now.
Whoa.
Right now.
100%.
Right now.
Right
Giannis,
this second.
Giannis isn't playing.
Right this very second.
Right
He's
this very
God.
minute. On the court. Nobody can guard him. I watched Phoenix run three different defensive tempos to stop this man. They started off with just playing the, hey, if the ISO comes, don't reverse, stay on your man, play the man-to-man game, okay? And then Anthony Edwards started cooking in the first half. They came out in the second half, and they said, okay, now roll off your man, and they played a whole different style of defense, right? And then Anthony Edwards put KD in a fucking blender on 3 straight left-handed step backs, okay? Then he goes into the fourth quarter, cooks a different style of defense, comes out game 2. Phoenix has a whole different, front court to back court formation. It looked like they were playing almost zone defense this game, the entire game. And Edwards was still cooking everywhere. I was like, it doesn't matter what you do. You can't stop this man.
Okay, this is my problem. I think you're talking about game 1, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, both games he was.
No. Game 1, he played phenomenal. He played great ball. Game 2, he shot 3 for 16.
How many assists did he have?
Acceptable. He had 6.
Okay, I thought he had 10.
You are Anthony Edwards. I cannot see 3 out of 16 for you, because I was gonna cook Jalen Brunson for shooting 16 for 56 over 2 games.
Yeah, but you just like to cook Jalen Brunson.
So I'm gonna come for Anthony Edwards. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, I understand. I think that when Anthony Edwards was still shooting, like you said, 3 for 16, I continue to see him in the highlights, in all the highlights. And I'm not saying I didn't just watch the highlights. I watched the game. What I'm saying is the next day on ESPN, he was still the main focal point of being on most of the plays. But my thing is that Anthony Edwards is one of those players that I believe, the opinion, that he has that Giannis, that Curry type of mentality where he makes everybody else on the court better with him.
Oh yeah, no, he's a dog. He's running the league right now. He's up there with the best of them.
I agree, and I think that he is literally going to be the main factor of why Phoenix. I know you have Bradley Beal. I know you have Devin Booker, who has been doing, and I know you have Kevin Durant, who's trying the best that his old ass can. But those 3 right now aren't going to be enough for fucking Anthony Edwards. And Rudy Gobert is so fucking funny because He only tries when it's like a big game scenario, right? And I forget this every year in the playoffs, and then I watch him, and I'm like, damn, it's just him and Donovan Mitchell against the whole fucking team when he was on Utah. And he comes over here, and Rudy's got fucking 5 blocks game 1. Rudy's got 4 blocks game 2. Rudy's over here fucking being Rudy. And I'm like, shit.
Dylan, I've low-key thought this for the last couple years. This man makes his money in the playoffs. That's it.
Yes, he does.
You gotta get him to the playoffs because once you get him to the playoffs, he earns his next contract. But if he doesn't get to the playoffs, he didn't have a great year because you didn't see what he did in the playoffs. But he earns all his money in the playoffs.
Yes.
These are the guys who can take down Jokic and that crew, because I think with the youth and Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, and the height,
he's so good too.
They're a tough team to beat if they're on, because Gobert's getting in the boards. Cat will help with the boards and can shoot the 3.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Edwards is a star, and Jaden McDaniels doesn't care who's in the paint. He's coming down the lane.
Yeah.
And he's a bucket, and he plays defense. He's a great two-way player. I like them.
They might be a 3 seed, but they're performing like a 1 seed. They're performing really well. Next series that we will talk about is the series that Tyler briefly just mentioned, and that is the New York Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers. So, game number 1, we had Tyrese Maxey pretty much put the team on his back. I felt bad for him. I'm going to be honest. Just game 1. Game 1, I felt bad for Maxey because I was like, all right, he's got 30 points. He's got 35 points. I don't know if he touched 10 assists, but I know he was around that number, and I was like, all right, I feel bad. And then game 2, we had a different situation where we had a little bit of a battle because Maxey got some help. Maxey did exactly what he did game 1. Game 2, just also having Joel Embiid perform and also having what's his name? Damn it. There's another player on Philly who shot really well and had 15 points, but I can't remember his name, and I'm sorry to you. But
he came off the bench, that's what.
Yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And he was able to make this a battle while Jalen Brunson was shooting like donkey dick. But the other 2 members of the Villanova Big 3 came through for him. We saw a couple big blocks by one of them. And the other man, I really wish I could tell you names, but I'm blanking on his name too.
The shooting guard?
Yes, help me.
I don't know his name right now. It's like Kevin. Not Kevin.
It's not Kevin Herter.
I don't know his name right now.
Josh Hart. Corey Hart. It's Josh Hart. Josh Hart.
I think we're thinking of 2 different people.
Help me, Jesse. Help me.
I'm gonna help you. Don't worry. You can keep talking though, and I'll.
Okay, but anyways, Hart was a big person that came into this game, and also I think Kevin Knox is who you're thinking of.
Yeah, Knox been a bucket.
Kevin Knox was also coming off the bench and helping out quite a lot too. The Knicks bench actually outshot them by 40 points in game 2, and that was a big reason why when the final buzzer sounded, the Knicks have a 2-0 series lead over the 76ers. Hey now, what I tell you? Let's go Knicks.
Boo! Should be 1-1. Horse shit. That's what I'm calling. Repping at the end of the game to save the New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden. That's what I watched. I don't know what you guys were watching.
I watched the 76ers shoot 40% in the fourth quarter. Or 30% in the fourth quarter. So they didn't help themselves.
No, but at the same time, iffy.
Okay. Bucks and Pacers are tied 1-1, and Damian Lillard is pretty much going to be the determining factor so far this series. He has 60 points in the first half of the first 2 games. He has 8 points in the second half of the first 2 games. So you just need Chris Middleton.
Some weird shit going on.
Yeah. First game, he had 35 points going into halftime. And I was like, oh, the Bucks are fine. Dame's going to put up 70 points this game. We're good. And he dropped like 4 points second half, and they still won. But it was like, okay, it's fine. And then game 2, he had 20-some points at half. Okay. It was a close game. But then when Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam are in their bags for the second half, Dame is nowhere to be seen. So the Bucks are actually a little bit of trouble here. And I'm not just saying that because of the Giannis situation. I'm saying that because Damian Lillard, you can't just play one half of basketball. We need you for 2.
Hey, he's been playing the whole season. Not like he was in Portland. He's had a man. He's been helping. Now he doesn't have him. He has to get used to that stamina he gives away all the time. He's playing himself.
Yep, I agree. Next series quickly is the Mavericks and the Cavs. The Magic and the Cavs. The Magic have 83 points in game 1, 88 points in game 2. How the fuck are you going to win an NBA playoff game scoring less than 90 points in game 1 and in game 2? It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's not. Your offense has been so piss poor that Paolo putting up his 18 to 24 points a game is not going to save you.
Remember when Ty talked about how it'd be sad if they didn't win a playoff game and didn't have a video?
It's been very frustrating. Their offense has been so bad. So bad. And maybe that's a credit to Cleveland's defense because Evan Mobley has been in his bag. He's shooting threes now. Why is Evan Mobley shooting threes now?
It's 2024.
What?
It's 2024.
Oh, that's why.
He better get a
Because
jump.
it's the year? No.
Yeah,
I
he
wanted
better
to
get a
go
jump
2 for 2 on threes game 1 and 2 for 2 on threes game 2. I was like, what the fuck is going on? But maybe it's a credit to the Cavs defense, but yeah, that offense is so bad that I'll be happy if they can win a game. Orlando Magic, no. We're not going to talk about OKC and Pelicans or Boston and Miami because one game has been played in both those series, so it doesn't make sense. So we got 2 series left. We got we got the Mavericks and the Clippers. Game 1, Jokic and Kyrie both shot less than 50%. So the Clippers won. Game 2, Kyrie and Jokic both shot more than 50%. And not Jokic, Doncic was in his black fucking bag for game 2. Just doing that step back crazy shots that he shouldn't be making type bullshit. And
slow-mo in real life.
Literally. And the Mavericks won game 2. So to me, this series is going to be when Luka and Kyrie are on, the Mavericks should be winning that game. But if they're off, you have Harden on his 15th straight playoff appearance.
That is not true.
Yes, it is. It was 12 or 15. It might be 12. I'm going to go to it, but I saw this today, and I was like, there's no fucking way.
He was really choking in the playoffs with the Rockets. That's crazy.
He has been to the playoffs 15 straight years. I fucking knew it. 15 straight years he's been to the playoffs. 0 rings. So, but anyways, that Clippers team with him, Kawhi, they can get they're still gonna win some fucking games if the 2 key players aren't performing.
Yeah, I need the Mavericks to knock them off.
Yeah, that would be lovely. Yeah. And then the last series that we have to get to, Lakers, Nuggets. Fucking hell. I had all these expectations. I did expect them to lose game 1. I did expect that. LeBron is notorious for losing game 1. So I did expect that. But game 2, when we were going into the 4th winning, I did have a good feeling. When we were winning most of the 4th quarter, I had a good feeling. And then when Jamal Murray hit his buzzer beater, I was fucking in dire places, man. I was sad. I was very sad. Because for those of you who don't know, most teams that go up 2-0 win the series. And that's not just an opinion. That's a statistical stat. 93.7% of teams that go up 2-0 in the NBA playoffs win the series, which means we now have a 7% chance for LeBron to win this series.
6.3.
6.3, yes. And I know he's LeBron. I know he's the GOAT. I know this and that. But 6% is never a good position to be in. So, Jesse, is Jokic going to sweep LeBron? There's no way he just wins 12 straight games against LeBron, right? Sweeps him 3 straight times, right? At that point, he is his daddy. I have to admit.
Dylan.
12-0? I mean, fucking hell.
It's basketball. I'm not going to do him like that.
Well, LeBron didn't play in 3 of those games, so I guess 7-0. But yeah.
At the end of the day, there's too much team play going. The teams are too outmatched, it seems. Like, even though the Lakers were winning all game, it was more Nugget mistakes than Lakers dominating.
That's a sad reality.
And it's like, I just don't think the Lakers team is built to win a championship. It's just not. Brown has not had enough help since he's been in LA because Anthony Davis is flu. And the point guard has switched around 4 out of the 5 years, I'm pretty sure.
No, you have 3 players on that Lakers team that you can rely on to be consistent if they're healthy. And that's
So,
LeBron,
it's
AD, Austin Reeves. That's it.
We should have known.
Because D'Lo, after he had that one good play-in game, and I was like, oh, this is the D'Lo we like to see. He's not been the D'Lo we like to see. So I can't if D'Lo, Austin Reeves, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James are all healthy and all hooping, that's a championship team. But they're not. They're not all healthy. They're not all hooping. And that's what makes them what they are. Because you know who is always hooping? I'll give you a hint. A point guard over in Denver and a center over in Denver. So Jamal and Jokic, they stay hooping. And that is currently where we stand for the NBA playoffs. And quickly before we roll off of the NBA, I just wanted to shout out Tyrese Maxey for winning the most improved player. Confused at why he won it because he was already really good and his points per game only went up by 3 and his assists per game only went up by 1.5. But should have been Kobe White, but shout out Tyrese Maxey. And then also, really quickly, they revealed the finalists for the MVP. So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, and Luka Doncic. So everybody in the comment section agrees with me on Instagram and Twitter that if Luka doesn't win, fuck the NBA. And I'm just glad that we're all on the same page. That's basketball.
Jalen Brunson should have won MIP.
Who?
In the NHL playoffs, we had many, series to talk about.
You know what's funny is that I'm okay with Luke missing this because I am fully rattled into playoffs, and I know Tao is fully rattled into playoffs. So let's get into this shit.
So clear cut, the best series that has been happening has been the Battle of Florida. Florida Panthers take a 2-0 lead in the series, but each game has been very close. Tampa has been battling their asses off to get back in games. But at the end of the day, Florida is just getting the edge in both of them to take the 2-0 lead. Next up, that it's just been clear cut the best series.
So you're just gonna come in and only be the one talking about the NHL playoffs? You're just gonna be the only you? We don't have voices now?
No.
Fucking hell! The Tampa Bay and Florida series, I thought has been a great series so far. I thought Game 2 was fantastic. That bitch going into overtime because Bobrovsky was standing on his head. He made a couple crazy fucking saves. So shout out to him. And 2-0 Florida. 92% chance of winning the series.
That's in the NBA. That is not in the NBA.
92. Not 93.1, 92 on the dot. Yeah.
93.1 is higher than 92. I don't know what you did there.
I know. But I'm still saying you only have an 8% chance.
Wait.
Well, look.
That's the actual.
Don't go down 2-0.
I think everyone here has Florida winning, so I don't think this is a real shock to anybody.
Jesse doesn't.
Oh,
Jesse's got Tampa Bay as he sits there and whistles.
Jesse, the Tampa is going to be home the next 2 games. They could easily win. This season, they've been insane at their own arena when they're home. They could easily make this a 2-2 tied series. You better and when it comes to NHL playoffs, don't even look at any type of percentages because anything can happen any given night, especially when it comes to playoff hockey. But moving on to the next series is Toronto and Boston. The series is tied after the Leafs edged out to come on top into game number 2, taking a 3-2 win after an abysmal Game 1 performance, losing 5-1, where Boston took the series lead in Game 1. That series is tied. Game 2 was good, but Game 1 was not. It was just Boston dominating Game 1. I mean, Game 2 actually made you look at the series and be like, hey, I actually kind of want to watch this thing. But other than that, I mean, it's just.
It wasn't the Boston sweep. I was
if
having
Toronto
dreams
wasn't
about,
if Toronto was in a flipped position, like I feel like if Toronto was going to Boston for the next two, they would be fucked. But because they're going to Toronto for the next two, I feel like that's what gives them a chance still.
And Boston's coach is over here in his own fucking head. Fucking mad that they have to spend so many days in Toronto. He was fucking yelling at the
Who wants to go there?
We shouldn't have to be in Toronto for so long. We're the home team. Oh, you're in your own head, boss. Just play hockey.
I mean, it generally doesn't make any sense, to be honest, because there's a 2
It's because they put that
break.
day in the middle. Usually it was a day for travel. Now it's 2 days. So
it's a 2-day break. That is ridiculous.
That's the weird part.
Wow.
That like usually you get a day or two in between the trip when you flip flop who's home, who's away. Not while you're there. That should be back-to-back games.
When they started doing this, that's why the Stanley Cup playoffs started going deeper and deeper into the year, because they'd have all these breaks. Like, come on, there's a lot of hockey to be played still.
Less breaks,
more 2-day breaks.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan for bigger breaks in between. That's what makes hockey so great. You build off momentum and you keep it rolling. You give more and more breaks. That kind of ruins the flow of momentum. But I mean, Toronto's good enough to keep this a decently long series, but I still don't think they're coming on top. Next up is the New York Rangers and the Washington Capitals. I mean, it was almost the same. It was almost the same thing, except Rangers are up 2-0 in the series. Caps looked abysmal in the first game, and at the start they're kind of looking abysmal in Game 2, but they're talking it a bit more, and they actually ruined. It's actually funny because a crazy fucking stat here is Shesterkin has been, like, I think, I don't know how many playoff games he has, but I'm pretty sure every single game he's played in round 1 has averaged 2 or less goals in, and the Caps actually broke that streak yesterday when they scored 3 goals. But
good for them for scoring 3 goals. Shout out to
Caps.
Rempe for getting the first goal of the Rangers for the playoffs. God, that shit made me so happy.
yeah.
Right? He can score too. He's not just the bruiser. He can put the puck in the net.
Come on now, he's more than
Yeah. He did not dress Game 2. I will say that. I don't know why, but
blasphemy.
There's a good chance for that.
Capital sucks.
But even with them, the Caps breaking Shesterkin's streak of 2 or less goals in round 1 in each game, they still fell short. I think that game is swiftly on track to be a sweep. I don't see the Caps. I mean, yeah, they've been playing really good hockey recently, playoff hockey for the last month, and they're going home. I just don't think they're going to get it done against the Rangers. I mean, with Lindgren, their Caps goalie.
No, I mean, we can all agree they're going to get swept.
I mean, a big reason why they lost this game was Lindgren made stupid mistakes, and it cost them. And if he keeps that up, they're easily getting swept. And I
don't see him correcting any of these mistakes.
It was just, dude, he was falling asleep. There was a missed goal that should have been a goal because it got dumped in, deflected in front of him, and he was looking up, seeing the Rangers guy coming straight at him, and he just lazily went to sweep it to the other side of the net. And would just as lazily, so it was going slow as the guy's like a foot in front of him. So he tries to poke it in there and it doesn't go into the net. But that, especially in playoff hockey, that usually ends up bad and usually is a goal. But Yeah. But then the last series in the East is Carolina and the Islanders. The Islanders should easily be up 2-0 in this series, but they have choked both games away. Just I don't know what I don't know what the mental collapse is, especially in game 2, but they are playing.
Up
This is
3-0.
probably
It was so fun to watch.
this would probably I was gonna give this one as the best series in playoffs, but because of the two mental collapses in both games for the Islanders, I just can't. Simply
They had 12
game
shots.
1.
I'm
I
sorry,
mean,
I can't keep it in there.
12 shots and they're winning most of the game.
And they blew a 3-goal.
They are doing what they need to do to win the games, and it's just not bouncing their way. I don't know what. It's insane, the mental collapse that they went through. They get to go home. Honestly, with the way they've been playing against Carolina on the road, if they keep continuing playing that, they are coming out on top at least one of these games, if not two of them, to tie the series, because the Canes just, I don't know what it is. They just don't look as good as they should. The Islanders are shutting them down and are playing. They are dictating the way these games go. And then when it comes down to the final stretch of the game, they just collapse and the Canes just take over.
It wasn't the final stretch. This should happen midway through the game. It was like midway through the second period, everything changed. Because once they got the first goal, I know they didn't score until the third period again, but I'm still saying, like, that tempo, it just seemed like everything changed. But that was just from a Carolina fan's perspective. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, but
at the same time,
Carolina
about it. You're saying it from a Carolina fan's perspective. Well, yeah, at that point you weren't down three rip.
Well,
anymore.
once we got the first goal, and it didn't.
Oh
it
shit, you feel
just
a little
felt
bit better.
Like, all right, we're in this game. We're good. And then we scored again, and then we scored again, and we scored 2 goals in 9 fucking seconds.
Four unanswered goals in the third period does that. As I said, down the final stretch, they were still up 3-1 going into the third period.
I'm glad
third period is that final stretch. But it's insane because during, like, it's almost both games. First 2 periods, Islanders are more so dominating. I mean, first game was pretty back and forth. God damn. Or we're pretty much dominating, but then as the game just goes on, Carolina just takes over, and it's insane. And I mean, they have a chance at home to shut that shit down again and finish out a game, but who knows how this is going to go. This could easily end up as a sweep if they keep up this collapsing, or they could tie the series up. There's really no in the middle.
Well, as a guy that picked the fucking Islanders, I'll tell you that I would love 2 wins at home here. So come on, boys. You've been playing solid hockey until the third period. So
God, that was so funny.
It really makes no sense. It's like they should have had at least one game.
It's just sad.
In the last
I'm just
2.
sad about it.
They really should have. This series should be going. This series should be going to 6, even possibly 7. The way the play has been going. But moving on to the next series, the first series in the West, the Knights have a 1-0 series lead over the Dallas Stars, and it was really shocking to see because the Knights were just all over them from the start. They ended up winning game 1 4-3, but that was only because the Stars were having to climb back the whole game and just fell up short trying to climb back. And you wouldn't think after watching game 1, you wouldn't think that this was a number 1 seed going against the wild card.
It's a game 1. I don't think we should be talking. This is why we didn't talk about the game 1 NBA series. I don't want to talk about game 1s because the only thing you can do is overreact. You can't.
This is not an overreaction though.
It's just been 1 game.
But this is not an overreaction.
We've only seen 1 game. That doesn't set any type of tempo or pace of how the series is going to go.
I'll tell you why this is an overreaction, because Dallas Stars have been an absolute powerhouse all through regular season. Every time they went up against Golden Knights, it's like they had the secret recipe to shut them down. And that's exactly what you saw in game 1. They shut down the Stars all over the ice. The Stars couldn't do shit. And then the Knights get a big lead, and the Stars have to climb back, which they
It was not a
almost
big
did.
lead. It was 4-2, and then they made it 4-3. It was not a big lead. It was not like they did not destroy the Stars. They won by 1 goal.
If you
in a
watch the
playoff
game,
hockey game.
they did destroy the Stars. The
No, they
scoreboard
didn't.
doesn't say that.
I watched it.
I
When
watched.
It was 3-1, 4-2, 4-3. They did
Then
not
you were
destroy
watching
them.
only the scoreboard. You weren't watching what was going on the ice, because all over the ice, Vegas was
I think
shutting
it's
down the
just- I think it's
Stars.
an overreaction. It was 1 game of the playoffs. And I think if you talk about the other 1 game of the playoffs, you're still going to make an overreaction because it's 1 game.
Hot take.
Oh man.
Who the fuck cares?
Me, because we've already been podcasting for 1 hour and 10 minutes. So we're going to talk about the 2 games?
I mean, I'm sorry
Yeah,
you
I
wanted
mean,
to take like fucking a half hour to talk about the NBA playoffs.
No, we were actually quick.
But
You have actually been the one who's been so just talking like you're in a robot. And I don't know why.
okay. Anywho, speaking from the guy that actually watches puck a lot, Vegas was dominating this game, and they were shutting down the Stars.
Didn't you show up at 57
The
minutes?
Stars should be worried and need to figure that shit out quick. Onger, Stars goalie, did not look good. He needs to get out. He needs to figure that out. Otherwise, it is not going to look good for the Stars, and they might see themselves in a first-round exit. Moving on to the next series, the Avs and the Jets. This series has been pretty good, honestly. 7-6 dub for Winnipeg, which is honestly shocking because normally it's Winnipeg's defense that wins them hockey games, and them to have their offense carrying them in a 7-6 win in game 1 is insane to see. But then the Avs fire back,
Fucking game 1 was electric.
Which I mean, honestly, I would have expected this score for Dallas and Vegas, a 5-2 win for Colorado. But I mean, this was been a back and forth game for game 2, and the pucks were just bouncing the Avs' way. It was insane to see. Like they got a quick goal off the face-off. Like they won it straight to the inside winger, an immediate shot, and it went in. And then they added another lucky bounce, and they were just getting the edge, and then they sunk the empty netter to make it 5-2. But this is another great series to watch. It's a lot back and forth, and I'm excited to see the rest of that.
Well, that series should be fucking insane in the membrane because, in my opinion, that'll end up being my favorite series of the first round, most likely. But,
Yeah,
to be determined.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to the next series, Nashville and Vancouver. This has been weird. It's just been a straight flip-flop. Vancouver is doing what they want. They take a 4-2 win over Nashville. And then game 2, Nashville just shut them down. The key for the Vancouver to win this series is to keep up their high-tempo shots and just keep peppering the net. They were not allowed to do that. Like, let's see. The shots were 16-18. Vancouver had more shots, but only 18 shots for Vancouver. That is extremely that is unlike them. That is not how they're going to win the series.
That's how Vancouver loses hockey games.
Yes, that is. If that keeps happening, Nashville is easily going to take this series, without a doubt.
How did Vancouver win hockey games? Literally all year, pepper the fucking net, score 5 or more goals, and the other team is not going to score 5 or more, so you're going to win. So you're only getting 19 shots. That's not their style of hockey. So if Nashville can shut them down,
Mm-hmm.
watch out. That might be right. I don't want to say it was right.
And getting into the last series of the West, Edmonton Oilers have a 1-0 lead over the Kings, the LA Kings. They took a 7-4 win Monday night. And, this is exactly how I really expected it to go. I'm going to be honest. Just like the last 2 years when they went up against the Oilers in the first round, their speed kills the LA Kings. The LA Kings just like Winnipeg, they base their whole game around their defense and just playing boring. They're almost like the Islanders too. Just boring hockey, take advantage of the other team's mistakes and win games. And what kills that is speed. And Edmonton has speed. Yes, they do. And it showed the last 2 years against the LA Kings, and it's showing again this year. The way I see it, this could easily be a five-game series. Edmonton is probably coming on top in this one because from the looks of game one, they still have yet to solve the problem of going against a very fast team. It is looking ugly.
You can't beat speed with anything other than punching them in the throat.
Mm-hmm.
I would just start throwing throat punches.
Right. And that's really it for the NHL playoffs. It's been fucking insane so far. There's been crazy comebacks. There's been some domination in some games. Nothing too crazy on the blowout end, score-wise. But
NHL over NBA playoffs any day of the week. Don't at me. All right, ladies and gents, that is all that I have for today on the podcast, all that we have for you. So, Dylan, get us out of here.
Thank you guys for watching the podcast. We appreciate it. And if you want to check us out over on the socials, please do so at Sharps Network on all platforms. That's over on Twitch, on YouTube, on X, on Instagram, on every platform. You can find us on Sharps Network. Make sure you follow, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. If you're going to the draft, yeah, in Detroit, freaking dress warm on Thursday because it's going to be chilly. But if you're going Friday, make sure you keep an eye out for me, for Tycho, maybe some of the other guys on the podcast because we are going to be downtown probably all day for the draft. So if you see us, come say hi, come stop by, say hello. Next time we will be live will be this Saturday where we will be hitting you with the fallout of the entire draft, giving you the recap of all of that, checking back in on both sets of the playoffs. And if any MLB news pops up, we'll smack you with that as well. Thank you guys for watching the podcast. I'm McGilly. Have a good one. Peace!